Welcome to our weekly program, The Inside Story of Chabad in America through the Middle Archives. This week is Parshas Vaychi, the last Parsha of Chumash Breishis. So the Torah says in Vaychi, Vayikrevu Yimei Yisrael Lomus. It came time to Yaakov, to Yisrael, to die. It says the word Lomus. And Rashi, and then Yaakov Avinu asked Yosef that he should promise him that he's going to take him out of Mitzrayim and bury him in Eretz Yisrael, and that's called a Chesed Shel Emes, a real true kindness. Why is it a real true kindness? Because a person a dead person cannot pay back. So we called it do with me a Chesed Shel Emes. In the end of Vaychi, after Yaakov Avinu gave a bracha all his children, that was his tzava, that was his will. So there it says that Yaakov Avinu passed. It doesn't say he died. It doesn't say Yaakov Avinu died. So Rashi says, why doesn't it say he died? Because ma zaro b'chaim avu b'chaim. If his children, if he leaves over children that are alive, then the father, then he also is alive. So when it doesn't say mace, is because Zara B'chaim, Avhu B'chaim, he's also alive. So the explanation is there are two things by a tzaddik. There is a guf and there's a neshama. As far as the body is concerned, a tzaddik died. He has to go through tahara, he has to go through kvura, bury, he has to go through all the halachas. We have to say kaddish for the person, and all the halachas that says in Shulchan Aruch. This is as far as the body is concerned. But at tzaddik, his life is ahava, love, yira, fear, and amunah, and faith. His life is a spiritual life. Tzadikim b'chayeyen kruyim meisim. Tzadikim b'misoson. When tzadikim die, they called life. They're still living. Rishoyim b'chayeyen kruyim meisim. Rishoyim in the life they called dead. And v'amich kolom tzadikim. So the life of a frum yid, especially the life of a tzaddik, that his life is love, fear, and faith, doesn't stop. His life continues constantly. And not only that, but shovak chayim l'chol chay. He leaves over life to everybody. Like the Rabbi Rashab said, Ich gehe in Himmel und ich los die Ksovim zu euch. I'm going to Himmel, to the heaven, but I'm leaving the Ksovim to you. So in other words, not only he's alive, but he leaves life. What does it mean he leaves life? His amunah, his ava, and yira, if we follow his ways, and if we learn his Torah, then, and we're mekusha to him, then he's alive, and he gives us life. Now, I heard once a word that it said by machzis hashekel, that Moshe Rabbeinu, they told the Yidden to give a machzis, half a shekel. Machzis, you spell mem, ches, tzadik, yud, sof. In the middle is a tzadik. And next to the tzadik is ches and yud, chai. When you're close to a tzadik, you are chai, you're living. When you're far from a tzaddik, meis, then you're like meis. So the tzaddik, if we connected to him, we learn his Torah, then he gives us life, and we live also. So there's no fear of death, because it's like a transition. He's living here now, and then he goes from one place to another place. So there's no tragedy when a tzaddik passes away. But if a Jew his whole life is gashmius, his whole life is taivus, his whole life is covered, jealousy, food, money, if that's his life, then when he passes away, it's a tragedy. But at tzaddik, it's not a tragedy. It goes from one place to another place. And this goes also not only by a tzaddik, but this goes for a yid that is a from yid that keeps Torah mitzvahs, so he goes from one place to another place. As the Frierdiker Rebbe, we know, the Rebbe mentioned it once, that by, if you remember, but by when the KGB, when they took him to a room, and 15 people were sitting, and each one had a gun, and they questioned him, and he answered in Yiddish, and they told him he should speak in Russian. The Frierdiker Rebbe knew Russian, but he didn't want to speak in Russian. He bedavke wanted to speak in Yiddish. So they said, you see this gun is going to teach you a lesson. So the Frierdiker Rebbe says, whoever has one world and two gods is afraid of this toy. But whoever has a yid that has one God and two worlds is not afraid of the toy. It's only a transition. So he's going to die. But the same thing, when he dies, it's called alive. The Rebbe said something even more, that the Frierdiker Rebbe was in Eilam Haba, in this world. So it's only from going from here, it's not a shock. Death is not a shock. And not only that, Yatem B'chayei, it's more than before. This is a tzaddik. So, I once heard that when the Rebbe went to be Menachem Ovel, the Satmar, old Satmar Rebbe, when he lost his daughter, the Satmar Rebbe asked him, we say by Nichom Avelim, Hamokim Minachim Eschem B'Seich Shar Avel Etzim V'Yerushalayim. That the place, Hamokim means God. The Eibishter is called a place because every place that you see, the Eibishter is there. But why is it called Mokim? Why isn't it called HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Yinachem, or another Lashon by the Eibishter? Why Mokim? So the Rebbe said to him, every Jew has a place in this world. Now that place is empty. That place is the Nechama. That place is comforts. Because before, the person was in a body, it was limited. Now it's not limited. So whatever good the person did in this world, that should be menachem you, and we should learn from, and you should learn from that person. So if that's the case, if death is only a transition, and it's not a tragedy by a Fruma Yid, so why did Rabbeinu HaKodesh, why did he cry before he passed away? Rabbi asked him, why do you cry? So he says, because now I cannot put on film. Now I can't do mitzvahs. I can't do Beinodam Lachavere. I can't do Gemilas Chasodim. I can't go to shul. I can't do all the mitzvahs. That's why. Not because he's going to die. Because there is no death by a tzaddik. So when a tzaddik dies, his ruach and his shoma goes with him. But his nefesh always stays in the kever. So it's not scary. So v'amich kulam tzaddikim, we're all tzaddikim. A Jew that does Torah mitzvahs is called a tzaddik. And that's why it says here, Yaakov Avinu loy meis, the beginning of Vaychi, it says Yaakov died, because it's talking about the guf. But later on, it's talking about Yaakov's life. Yaakov Avinu loy meis. Why didn't he die? He died. I mean, he was buried. But since his life is Ava, and Yira, and Amunah, so Yaakov Avinu, loy meis, Yaakov never died. And this is why the Parsha is called Parshas Vaychi, that Yaakov Avinu, even though it's speaking about death, but Yaakov lived, because Yaakov's life was life. So Yaakov Avinu, loy meis. Next week, we'll continue our weekly program. Thank you.